There are places in this world that don't just exist, they breathe. Places where time stands still, and the earth itself seems to whisper its secrets to those who dare to listen. And among all the islands that scatter the Mediterranean like jewels on blue silk, one shines brighter, older, deeper: Malta. This isn't the postcard version you've seen. This is Malta's hidden heart, where temples older than the pyramids sleep beneath the soil, where silent cities speak without words, and where the sea guards memories from civilizations long forgotten. So, let's journey beyond the beaches, past the bustling streets of Valletta and the sunlit harbors of Gozo. Let's uncover the mystery that has drawn knights, kings, and wanderers for thousands of years. Because Malta isn't just an island. It's a story, carved into stone, whispered by the waves, and carried through time. Welcome to Malta's hidden side, island rising from the deep blue Mediterranean, holding secrets older than the pyramids. Explore its geography, legends, and ancient origins that make it feel frozen in time. Beneath the endless blue of the Mediterranean, an island rises like a forgotten dream, ancient, sun-drenched, and mysterious. This is Malta, a land where every stone tells a story and every wave whispers the secrets of time. But behind its postcard beauty lies something deeper, something older. What if this small island, barely visible on the map, held the keys to civilizations lost, to gods forgotten, and to a history that defies what we think we know? Stay with me, because this is not just another travel story. This is a journey into the island that time forgot. Malta may seem small, but it holds within it one of the richest layers of human history on Earth. Set between Europe and Africa, between the East and the West, it's more than just a country. It's a crossroads of empires, myths, and mysteries. As the sun burns over limestone cliffs, casting golden light over the island, you begin to understand why ancient sailors believed this place was blessed by the gods. Its shores have seen Phoenician merchants, Roman legions, Arab scholars, and the valiant knights of Street John all leaving their mark, their whispers, their ghosts. But before any of them came, Malta was already old, much older. Beneath its villages and fields lie temples older than Stonehenge, older than the great pyramids of Egypt. These are not mere ruins. They are the bones of an ancient world that once pulsed with mystery. Who built them? Why here, on a tiny island, surrounded by endless sea? Some say they were built by giants, beings of immense strength and wisdom. Others believe they were aligned with the stars, part of a forgotten civilization that vanished without a trace. Walking through Malta feels like stepping between worlds. One moment, you're standing by the shimmering harbor of Valletta, surrounded by the echoes of cannon fire and church bells. The next, you're wandering through ancient landscapes that seem untouched by time. The scent of the sea mixes with wild thyme and salt. The air hums with an almost electric stillness. Even today, locals speak of places where the stones breathe, where strange lights dance at night, and where you can feel the past watching you. Malta's history is not written in books, it's carved into its cliffs and caves. The blue waters that surround it have hidden stories of shipwrecks, buried treasures, and sacred rituals long forgotten. Divers speak of finding amphorae resting in the sand, remnants of Phoenician trade routes, and Roman anchors locked in coral. And somewhere deep beneath the island, in catacombs and hidden chambers, lie walls etched with symbols no one has ever fully decoded. It's this blend of history and enigma that gives Malta its spellbinding power. You can see it in the faces of fishermen in Marsaxlokk, in the laughter of children running through Valletta's golden streets, in the old men sipping espresso by the docks as the sea glitters like glass. Every soul here carries the weight of centuries, and yet the island feels alive, vibrant, eternally reborn. And then there's the light. Nowhere else in the world does sunlight hit the earth quite like it does in Malta. It's almost supernatural, a golden blaze that turns the limestone walls into fire, the sea into liquid sapphire, and the air into something sacred. Photographers call it the light of the gods. Artists travel here chasing it. Locals just smile, they've lived under it forever. Malta has survived invasion after invasion, siege after siege, and still stands proud, a tiny fortress defying the tides of time. When the world burned around it during the Second World War, it became the most bombed place on Earth, yet never surrendered. The spirit that built temples before history itself is the same spirit that rebuilt after destruction. This island is not just a place, it's a living memory, a story that never ends. When you walk its shores, you don't just see the Mediterranean, you feel the heartbeat of something timeless. It's in the hum of the cicadas at dusk, the hush of waves against stone, the call to prayer echoing faintly through the old harbors. It's a rhythm that connects you to the ancients, to the earth, to yourself. And as the sun sinks below the cliffs, painting the sea in crimson light, you realize something extraordinary. Malta isn't forgotten. It's just waiting for those who listen, who look beyond the surface, who believe that magic still exists in this world. Because here, on this small island of stone and sea, time doesn't move forward, it circles, endlessly, beautifully, whispering to anyone who dares to hear. This is Malta, the island that time forgot, and the island that time will never truly leave. Unveil the story of Malta's capital, Valletta. Talk about its golden architecture, narrow limestone streets, and Baroque cathedrals, while revealing the untold stories of the Knights of Street, John, and the city's hidden underground tunnels. Valletta, a city that glows like gold under the Mediterranean Sunday. At first glance, it's beautiful, elegant, perfectly still. But look closer, and you'll feel something pulsing beneath its stone, a rhythm that has echoed for centuries, forged in battle, faith, and unshakable will. Valletta is not just Malta's capital, it's a monument to survival. A city born out of fire, built by knights, and blessed by light. As dawn breaks over the Grand Harbor, light spills across the limestone walls, turning the city into a living painting. You can almost hear the hum of ancient cannons, the clash of swords, the prayers of knights standing guard. Valletta was founded by the Knights of Street John in the 16th century, after one of the fiercest battles in history, the Great Siege of Malta in 1565. Against all odds, a small band of knights and Maltese defenders held back the vast Ottoman Empire. They won, but the land was scorched, broken, and blood-soaked. Out of that victory rose a new city, built not only to defend Malta, but to stand as a symbol of faith, resilience, and defiance. The city itself feels like a fortress carved from sunlight. Its streets are narrow, steep, and perfectly aligned to catch the sea breeze. Every corner hides a story about a scar, a secret, a legend. Walk along Republic Street and you'll pass grand palaces, old auberges where the knights once lived, and balconies so intricate they seem to breathe. The stone here has aged into a warm honey color, glowing at sunrise and burning at sunset. It's impossible not to be moved by it, as though every wall remembers. From the Upper Baraka Gardens, you can see the whole Grand Harbor unfold before you, a panorama that steals your breath. Ships glide through waters that have carried traders, pirates, and empires. Across the harbor lies the three cities, older than Valletta itself, their domes and bastions shining like bronze in the distance. Cannons fire at noon from the saluting battery below, echoing through the air, a daily reminder of the island's strength and pride. Valletta isn't just history, though. It's alive, a blend of old and new, sacred and modern. Inside Street John's Co-Cathedral, you find one of Europe's most stunning interiors. Gold leaf, marble, and Caravaggio's masterpiece, the beheading of St. John the Baptist. The painting seems almost too real. Blood, shadow, and light frozen in a single moment of divine tragedy. It's a reflection of Malta itself. Beauty born from struggle, faith surviving through chaos. Step outside, and you hear another heartbeat music drifting from cafes, footsteps echoing off cobblestones, church bells ringing in perfect harmony. The city feels like a living organism, breathing through its people. Maltese voices mixed with the chatter of travelers, and somewhere in the background, the sea keeps whispering its endless song. At night, Valletta transforms. The streets glow under lanterns, the limestone walls radiate warmth, and the scent of the ocean fills the air. Locals gather in the squares, laughing over wine and seafood, while soft guitar music drifts between the alleys. The city that once stood in silence now hums with life. There's something hypnotic about it, a perfect balance between peace and pulse. And yet, even in its vibrance, Valletta carries its ghosts. Beneath its streets lie tunnels carved during wartime, shelters where families once hid from bombs that rained down during World War II. Malta was one of the most heavily bombed places on Earth, yet the people never surrendered. They endured hunger, destruction, and fear. And when the war ended, Valletta rose again, brighter than before. That spirit, the unbreakable will of Malta, lives in every brick, every shadow, every smile. If you stop at the edge of the harbor at dusk, you can feel it all converge. History, faith, resilience, beauty. The sun dips into the sea, painting the water in fire and gold. The city glows like a crown of light on the edge of the Mediterranean, proud and eternal. And in that moment, you understand why Valletta isn't just a place to see, it's a place to feel. Because Valletta is more than Malta's capital, it's Malta's soul, a city that rose from ashes, shone through centuries, and still stands, whispering to anyone who will listen. We endured, and we shine still. And as the night deepens and the stars awaken over the harbor, you realize that Valletta is not just a city of the past. It's a living testament to what happens when courage meets faith and when light refuses to fade. Explore the ancient walled city of Mdina, once the capital of Malta. Reveal its eerie silence, medieval architecture, and legends of noble families, mysterious lights, and spirits said to roam its deserted alleys at night. There are cities that move forward with time, and there are cities that make time stop. Mdina is the latter. As you pass through its great stone gate, the noise of the world fades away. The air changes. The light softens. Footsteps echo against limestone walls, and the sound of the wind seems ancient, as if it has been whispering the same secrets for 1,000 years. Mdina, the silent city, is a place where history still breathes, where every corner feels sacred, and where silence is not emptiness, but presence. Perched high on a hill in central Malta, Mdina looks like something from a dream, a golden fortress floating above rolling valleys, its walls glowing in the sun, like fire turned to stone. From afar, it seems untouchable, isolated from the chaos of the modern world. But once you walk inside, you understand its true power. This is not a ruin. It's a living monument to Malta's soul, a city that has watched empires rise and fall, and yet remained utterly still. Mdina's story begins long before Malta became known to the rest of the world. It was founded by the Phoenicians around 700 BC, expanded by the Romans, and fortified by the Arabs who gave it its name, Medina, meaning the walled city. For centuries, it was the island's capital, the seat of nobles, bishops, and knights. But when Valletta was built, Mdina fell into quietness, abandoned by power, left behind by time. Yet, in that stillness, it found its magic. Walking through its narrow, winding alleys feels like stepping into another world. The streets twist and turn with no clear direction, a labyrinth designed to confuse invaders but also to slow your steps. Here, you don't rush. You wander. You listen. You feel. Every shadow tells a story. Every window hides a memory. The golden walls, warmed by centuries of sunlight, seem to glow from within. No cars are allowed inside, so the silence is pure, broken only by the soft clatter of hooves as horse-drawn carriages pass through the streets. The sound feels timeless, echoing off cathedral walls that have stood for nearly 1,000 years. It's in this silence that you begin to hear what modern life drowns out: your own thoughts, your own heartbeat, your own awe. The Cathedral of St. Paul stands at the heart of Mdina, its twin spires rising into the sky, its bells tolling softly across the valleys. Legend says that St. Paul himself stayed nearby after being shipwrecked on Malta nearly 2,000 years ago, spreading Christianity across the island. Inside, the cathedral is a masterpiece of Baroque art: golden light, marble floors, and painted ceilings that seem to open to heaven itself. The scent of incense lingers in the air, mixing with the faint coolness of the stone. Step outside, and you'll find breathtaking views stretching across the island. Green valleys, tiny villages, and the shimmer of the sea far beyond. From this height, Malta feels eternal, like a mosaic of time laid out before you. It's easy to see why nobles once built their palaces here. The city's balconies and courtyards still carry traces of their grace: intricate ironwork, quiet fountains, the soft rustle of ivy climbing the walls. Everything here whispers elegance, restraint, reverence. And yet, Mdina is not frozen in the past. It lives. The families who reside here have inherited their homes for generations, preserving the rhythm of a city that refuses to die. Candles flicker in windows. The smell of baking bread and roasted coffee drifts from hidden kitchens. Artists and historians wander these same cobblestones, chasing light and inspiration. At dusk, Mdina becomes almost otherworldly. The streets, lit by golden lanterns, glow like veins of fire running through stone. The silence deepens, and the city feels alive in its stillness, like it remembers every moment of its long, beautiful life. The sound of the evening wind carries with it the ghosts of the past Roman soldiers, Arab poets, Christian monks, noblewomen whispering from balconies. The walls have seen it all, and they tell their stories only to those who listen quietly enough. Mdina teaches something rare in today's world: the art of stillness. It reminds us that silence isn't emptiness. It's depth. It's memory. It's the sound of history breathing softly through time. And in that stillness, you find a kind of peace that no modern city can give. When the moon rises above the bastions and the valleys below fall into darkness, Mdina shines a golden island of calm suspended between heaven and earth. You stand there, and you realize that this isn't just a city. It's a sanctuary, a place that invites you to slow down, to look inward, and to remember that beauty doesn't always shout sometimes. It whispers. Mdina, the silent city where time stopped not to fade but to endure. Dive into Malta's prehistoric temples like Ħaġar Qim and Mnajdra, megalithic structures older than Stonehenge. Explore theories about their builders, their celestial alignments, and the energy many visitors claim to feel within these ancient stones. At the edge of Malta's southern coast, where cliffs drop steeply into the deep blue Mediterranean, there's a place where sunlight performs miracles. The locals call it the Blue Grotto, a cathedral of sea and light, where water and stone merge into something divine. This isn't just a natural wonder. It's a living, breathing illusion of color, a place where the sea glows with impossible shades of sapphire, turquoise, and silver. It's a sight that leaves you silent, that makes you believe in the magic of the earth itself. From the moment you approach, you feel it, that quiet anticipation that only comes before encountering something truly otherworldly. The cliffs rise high and rugged, carved by millennia of wind and wave. The air smells of salt and sun-baked stone. Then, as you descend toward the sea, the light begins to shift softer, clearer, more vibrant. The waves crash below, and the sound echoes like the heartbeat of the island. The Blue Grotto isn't one cave, but a network of 7 carved naturally by the sea into the towering limestone. Each chamber reflects the light differently, creating a kaleidoscope of blues and greens that change with every passing cloud. When the sun is at the perfect angle, the water glows from within a surreal, luminous blue that seems to come from another world. It's as if the ocean itself has caught fire with color. The best way to experience it is by boat. As you glide into the grotto's mouth, the temperature drops and the world outside disappears. You are surrounded by shimmering walls that shift with the motion of the water. The sunlight filters through the waves and bounces off the limestone, turning the sea beneath you into a glowing mirror of liquid light. Fish dart below, their silver scales reflecting flashes of electric blue. It feels as though you're floating inside a dream. Legends surround this place. Ancient sailors once believed that the grotto was guarded by sea nymphs, spirits who lured travelers into its glowing depths with beauty so pure it could drive men mad. Even today, the mystery lingers. The light seems alive, like it has its own pulse, its own will. Locals say that if you visit at sunrise, when the water is calm and clear, you can see the grotto's heart, a perfect reflection of the sun on the cave ceiling, glowing like a crown. Above, the cliffs of Weedish, Sharik rise in stark contrast, jagged, ancient, and commanding. From the top, you can see the open sea, stretching endlessly into the horizon, and if the sky is clear, the faint outline of the small island of Filfla, a rocky outcrop that stands like a silent guardian in the waves. It's a view that captures the raw power of Malta's coastline. Wild, sacred, eternal. But what makes the Blue Grotto truly special isn't just the beauty of the cave, it's the feeling it leaves inside you. As the boat drifts slowly through the chambers, time seems to dissolve. You find yourself caught between earth and water, between darkness and light. Every ripple, every reflection, feels like a heartbeat, a reminder that nature creates with the same artistry as the finest painter. When you step back onto land, the sun feels warmer, the air clearer. It's as though the grotto has changed the way you see color itself. Everything seems more alive, the green of the cliffs, the white of the boats, the endless blue of the sea. You realize that this place isn't just about beauty, it's about connection, a reminder that the earth still holds magic if we know where to look. Many travelers rush through Malta, visiting its cities and beaches, never realizing that some of its most profound moments lie hidden beneath its cliffs. The Blue Grotto is one of those rare places that invites you to pause, to breathe, to watch, to listen. The sea speaks here, not in words, but in light. And as the day fades and the sun sinks into the horizon, the grotto transforms once more. The brilliant blues fade to soft purples, then deep indigo, until the water turns black and still. The cliffs catch the last golden light before night claims them, and the sea falls silent. The magic doesn't vanish, it just retreats, waiting for the next sunrise to wake it again. The Blue Grotto is not simply a wonder to see, it's an experience to feel. It captures something eternal, the dance between light and shadow, silence and sound, presence and mystery. It's one of those rare places that reminds us that the most powerful beauty on earth doesn't need to be built, it's already here, waiting beneath the waves, glowing softly in the heart of the sea. So when you stand at the cliff's edge, the wind in your hair, the horizon endless before you, remember this: some places don't need words to tell their stories. They speak in light, they speak in silence, they speak through the sea. And in Malta, nowhere does that voice sing more clearly than in the heart of the Blue Grotto. Venture to Malta's sister island, Gozo, quieter, greener, and filled with myths. Talk about the tragic collapse of the Azure window, the legend of Calypso's cave, and how Gozo preserves the essence of old Malta in its rugged landscapes. They say Gozo is where time forgot to move, a place where myths linger like mist, and the air hums with something ancient. As your ferry glides across the channel from Malta, the island rises slowly from the horizon, smaller, quieter, greener, yet somehow more alive. The light here feels softer, the hills more rounded, the sea calmer. Gozo isn't just another island, it's a different rhythm of life, a sanctuary of stone, sea, and silence where every path leads to history, and every view feels eternal. As you step ashore in Magar, you sense it instantly, the peace. The port bustles gently with fishermen hauling their nets, the scent of salt and diesel mixing with the aroma of freshly baked bread from a nearby cafe. The colors are vivid but weathered faded blues, sun-bleached yellows, and terracotta rooftops shimmering under the Mediterranean Sunday. It's the kind of place where you can breathe deeply and feel centuries slide off your shoulders. Gozo is smaller than its sister island, but it holds a world within its cliffs. The island's soul lives in its land, terraced fields carved into the hillsides, olive groves that twist with age, and valleys that open suddenly to reveal the sea. The roads wind through golden villages of limestone, each with its own charm and a church tower rising proudly in the center. Yeah, Gozo's greatest treasure lies deeper in the whispers of its myths. According to legend, this is the island where the nymph Calypso held the hero Odysseus captive for 7 long years, offering him immortality if he'd only stay. The cave she's said to have lived in still exists perched above Ramla Bay, facing the endless sea. From its mouth, the view is spellbinding. Red, gold sands stretch below, waves lap gently against the shore, and the horizon glows with light. Standing there, you can almost feel the pull, the same enchantment that once kept Odysseus from returning home. Gozo has that power. It doesn't hold you by force, but by peace. Travel inland, and you reach Victoria, the beating heart of the island. Its crown jewel is the Citadel, a massive fortress that looms over the city like a guardian within its ancient walls. Every stone tells a story. Narrow lanes twist through centuries of history, leading to hidden courtyards, quiet chapels, and breathtaking views of the island below. From the ramparts, you can see Gozo unfold in every direction. Green valleys, honey-colored villages, and the glittering coastline beyond. When the bells toll from the Cathedral of the Assumption, their sound echoes through time. But Gozo's magic isn't confined to myth and history. It's alive in its landscapes. The Azure window may have fallen, but the Duedra Bay area remains one of the most spectacular natural sights in the Mediterranean. Here, the power of the sea is unmatched. Waves thunder against cliffs, carving arches and caves with relentless force. Inland, the inland sea connects to the open ocean through a narrow tunnel in the rock, a gateway between worlds, carved entirely by nature. Divers from around the globe come here to explore its mysterious depths, where sunlight filters through water like liquid gold. Evenings in Gozo are something special. As the sun begins to set, the entire island glows, fields turn bronze, the limestone houses blaze amber, and the sky deepens into rose and violet. Villagers gather in small squares, children play near the church steps, and music drifts through the air. It's not grand or loud, it's gentle, real, human. The kind of beauty that stays with you not because it dazzles, but because it soothes. Then there's the food, simple, honest, and rooted in the earth. Freshly baked fira bread filled with tomatoes and olives, local cheeselets called robajaniat, and wine grown in the island's fertile soil. Meals here aren't just about eating. They're about connection to the land, to each other, to life itself. But what truly defines Gozo is its silence. Not the kind of silence that feels empty, but one that feels full of wind, of sea, of memory. Stand atop Hinu, the majestic basilica that rises from the fields, and you'll understand. Pilgrims have come here for centuries, drawn by faith and miracles. Inside, candles flicker in the dim light, prayers hang in the air, and outside, the hills roll quietly toward the sea. It's a place that makes you pause, not out of awe, but out of reverence. Night in Gozo falls softly. The stars come alive, unpolluted and bright, and the air cools with a hint of sea salt. The villages light up like constellations, and the island seems to exhale. You realize then what makes this place different. It's not the history or the legends or even the beauty, it's the way Gozo reminds you to slow down, to listen, to simply be. In a world that never stops, Gozo stands still, and that's its greatest gift. Here, you don't just visit a destination. You rediscover a feeling long forgotten, the peace of being present, surrounded by nature, light, and silence. Gozo doesn't ask for your attention. It simply gives you the space to remember who you are. Descend into Malta's underwater world, the blue hole, coral gardens, and secret sea caves glowing in electric shades of turquoise. Mix exploration with mythology tales of sea spirits and ancient shipwrecks that now sleep beneath the waves. They call it the Silent City, and the moment you step inside its gates, you understand why. Mdina feels like time stopped here centuries ago and never bothered to start again. The sound of your footsteps echoes through narrow stone alleys that twist like secrets, and every shadow seems to guard a story. The air is heavy with history, perfumed faintly with limestone dust and the faint scent of jasmine that drifts from hidden courtyards. This is not just another city. It's a living relic, a masterpiece of silence carved from stone. Mdina once served as Malta's capital, long before Valletta existed. Built by the Phoenicians, expanded by the Romans, and fortified by the Arabs, it was known as the Città Notabile, the noble city. Today, its population barely reaches 300, but its soul feels vast. Its walls, nearly 1,000 years old, rise golden against the Maltese sun, glowing like honey at sunset and silver beneath the moon. Inside, there are no cars, no noise, only whispers of wind, the distant chime of church bells, and the quiet hum of history breathing softly through the stones. As you wander deeper, the streets grow tighter and more mysterious. Each corner reveals something new: a balcony draped in ivy, a heavy wooden door carved with intricate patterns, a sudden burst of light where an alley opens into a sunlit square. The architecture here tells the story of conquest and culture. Baroque facades blend with Arab arches, Norman curves, and hints of Italian grace. Every wall has absorbed centuries of art, faith, and conflict. You feel it in the air, that ancient stillness that commands respect. At the heart of Mdina stands St. Paul's Cathedral, majestic, yet serene. According to legend, it marks the spot where the Apostle Paul met the Roman governor after being shipwrecked on Malta. The cathedral's twin bell towers rise proudly above the skyline, their warm sandstone glowing under the afternoon light. Inside, the marble floors are inlaid with colorful tombstones of knights and nobles, each one bearing emblems and Latin inscriptions. Rays of sunlight stream through stained glass, scattering color across the pews. It feels sacred, but also human. A place of devotion built by hands that believe beauty itself was an act of worship. Outside, the city walls offer one of the most breathtaking views in all of Malta. From the bastions, you can see the island unfold, rolling fields, distant villages, and the shimmer of the Mediterranean far away. When dusk arrives, the sky ignites in pink and gold, and the first lights flicker in the valleys below. There's a stillness in that moment that feels eternal, as if the entire island is holding its breath. Standing there, you realize that Mdina doesn't just overlook Malta, it remembers it. Every sunrise and sunset reflected in these stones tells a story of endurance. But despite its silence, Mdina is not without life. Behind those tall walls, palaces still house families whose bloodlines trace back centuries. Artists find inspiration here. Poets come to listen to the quiet. In the evenings, the soft glow of lanterns illuminates the alleys, and the clatter of cutlery from hidden courtyards hints at quiet dinners unfolding behind carved wooden doors. The few restaurants here are intimate, candlelit, and timeless, the kind of places where conversations seem to belong to another century. If you listen carefully, the silence of Mdina speaks. It tells of sieges and storms, of love and loss, of faith and fortitude. It remembers the hands that built it, the voices that once echoed off its walls, and the footsteps that have crossed these stones for 1,000 years. Every shadow feels alive with memory, not haunting, but protective. Mdina doesn't feel empty. It feels sacred. There's something cinematic about walking these streets at night. The moonlight falls softly on limestone walls, and the air cools, carrying the faint scent of the sea. The only sound is your own breath, the whisper of wind through the narrow alleys. It feels like walking through a dream, one that doesn't end when you wake, because a part of it stays with you. The city teaches you something subtle but powerful. That silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. When you finally leave through the grand gate, the world outside feels louder, faster, more fragile. But inside you, the stillness of Mdina lingers, a quiet reminder that beauty doesn't always need to shout to be remembered. Some places speak softly, and those are the ones that echo longest in the soul. Reveal Malta's World War II history, a tiny island that became one of the most bombed places on Earth. Uncover the hidden bunkers, wrecked warplanes under the sea, and the resilience that earned Malta the George Cross for bravery. The sea shimmers like liquid sapphire, and the air carries the scent of salt and sunlight. As your boat slices through the waves, an island begins to emerge from the horizon, small, wild, and almost otherworldly. This is Comino, Malta's secret paradise. From afar, it looks like a fragment of heaven dropped into the Mediterranean. But up close, it's something even rarer. A place that still feels untouched, unspoiled, and impossibly pure. The moment you reach the Blue Lagoon, your breath catches. The water glows an electric turquoise so bright it feels unreal, like someone turned the saturation of the world all the way up. It's perfectly clear, revealing smooth white sand beneath, rippling with sunlight. This isn't just water, it's liquid glass, a mirror that reflects the sky itself. People travel halfway across the world to see this exact shade of blue, but even in photos and videos, it never quite looks like it does in person. Here, color becomes emotion. It pulls you in, demanding you feel it, not just see it. Comino is tiny, only about 3.5 square kilometers, and has barely a handful of permanent residents. No cars, no cities, no crowds, just cliffs, wild herbs, and the whisper of the sea. The island takes its name from the cumin seed that grows naturally here, perfuming the air with its faint, spicy aroma. Walking across Comino feels like crossing a forgotten world, the silence interrupted only by seabirds and the rhythmic crash of waves against the rocks. The Blue Lagoon is the island's crown jewel, but its magic deepens when you explore beyond it. Hidden coves carve the coastline, each more secret than the last. Crystal Lagoon, just a short hike away, is quieter and deeper, perfect for swimming or diving through underwater caves where sunlight flickers through openings like liquid fire. The water hums with life, schools of fish darting through coral-covered walls, their scales catching flashes of gold and silver beneath the surface. It's a living painting in constant motion. Above the waterline, the cliffs of Comino rise dramatically, sculpted by wind and time. They look barren from afar, but they hide stories. Wildflowers growing in cracks, lizards basking on sun-warmed stone, and seabirds nesting in crevices untouched by humans. The path to Street Mary's Tower winds through this rugged terrain. Built in the early 1600s by the Knights of St. John, the tower once guarded the sea routes between Malta and Gozo. Today, it stands alone, silent, stoic, a relic of defense now surrounded by peace. Standing atop its walls, you can see the entire island and beyond the deep blue sea stretching endlessly in every direction, reminding you just how small we are compared to the immensity of nature. Comino's beauty lies in its simplicity. There's no noise here, no rush, no clutter, only the rhythm of nature and the clarity it brings. You can swim for hours, float in the warm shallows, and listen to the gentle pulse of the waves echoing against limestone cliffs. For a moment, it feels like time doesn't exist. The sun arcs slowly across the sky, turning the sea from glowing turquoise to deep sapphire and finally to molten gold as evening falls. When the last boats leave, Comino becomes something else entirely. Silence drapes over the island like a soft veil, broken only by the call of seabirds returning to roost. The blue lagoon, now empty, glows faintly in the twilight, a pool of light under a sky full of stars. The horizon melts into darkness, and the Milky Way reveals itself in breathtaking clarity. Here, far from city lights, you can see the universe unfold infinite, silent, and stunningly alive. Standing there, you realize that Komino's magic isn't just about what you see, it's about what you feel. It's about returning to something ancient and primal, the simplicity of existence, the hum of the earth, the heartbeat of the sea. It's a reminder that beauty doesn't need grandeur or excess. Sometimes, it's found in stillness, in solitude, in a single wave breaking gently against the shore. Komino may be small, but its spirit feels boundless. It's a place that doesn't just rest between Malta and Gozo, it exists between reality and dream, between time and timelessness. For those who seek more than just a destination, Komino offers something far greater, a return to silence, to self, to the awe of the natural world. As the waves lap gently against the rocks and the sky deepens into midnight blue, you understand Komino isn't just an island. It's a whisper from the earth, reminding us to slow down, breathe deeply, and listen. Because sometimes, the most powerful beauty doesn't roar, it glows quietly, waiting for those patient enough to notice. Shift to the cultural soul, the fusion of Arabic, Italian, and British influences that shape Malta's language, food, and lifestyle. Highlight the warmth of its people, ancient festivals, and timeless Mediterranean rhythm. There's a place just a short ferry ride from Malta that feels like stepping through a doorway into another time. An island where stories still live in the wind, where light paints the landscape in shades of magic, and where every hill and valley seems to hum with ancient memory. This is Gozo, Malta's quieter sister, its heart and its soul. The Maltese call it Gjenodex, but travelers often call it something else, the Island of Dreams. The moment the ferry glides into Megaliths harbor, you feel it a slower rhythm, a gentler pace. Gozo isn't about noise or spectacle, it's about peace. Its coastline rises in rolling cliffs and terraced fields, dotted with tiny stone farmhouses that look as if they've stood there forever. The scent of salt and wild thyme drifts through the air. The sea sparkles, the bells of distant churches echo faintly across the hills, and you realize this isn't just another island. This is a story written in sunlight. Gozo is steeped in legend. It's said to be the island where the mythical nymph Calypso held Odysseus captive for 7 years, enchanted by love and loneliness. If you visit Calypso's cave, overlooking the golden sands of Ramla Bay, you can almost imagine it, the hero staring out at the endless sea, torn between adventure and peace. The cave itself is quiet now, but the wind still whispers, carrying the myth forward through time. From the coast, the land climbs gently upward into a tapestry of rural beauty. The people here still live by the rhythm of the seasons, tending olive trees, drying tomatoes in the sun, and baking bread in centuries-old ovens. Life on Gozo moves at the pace of the earth, and that's what makes it feel so timeless. The Gozotans are known for their warmth and simplicity, their easy smiles and open hearts. To them, the island isn't a destination, it's home, sacred and living. At the island's heart stands Victoria, also known as Rabat, crowned by the ancient Citadella, a fortress that has guarded Gozo for thousands of years. As you walk its stone ramparts, the entire island stretches out before you, a patchwork of green valleys, limestone villages, and distant blue horizons. Inside its walls, narrow streets twist between old houses, chapels, and museums that tell the story of Gozo's survival through centuries of invasion and rebirth. But Gozo's magic doesn't only lie above ground. Beneath its hills runs a labyrinth of caves and tunnels, some natural, others carved by hand. In Zagudra, you'll find the Gantija temples, a UNESCO World Heritage Site older than the pyramids of Egypt, a reminder that Gozo was sacred long before history began. Legend says these colossal stones were built by giants, one of whom carried her child on her shoulder as she stacked the megaliths into place. Standing among these ancient stones, you can feel a strange, almost electric energy, as if the island itself remembers the hands that shaped it. And then there's what the sea has taken, and what it has given back. Gozo once held one of Malta's most iconic landmarks, the Azure window, a natural stone arch that framed the sea like a gateway to infinity. When it collapsed in 2017, the world mourned. But even in its absence, Gozo didn't lose its wonder. It transformed it. Today, the site has become a breathtaking underwater world, a favorite for divers who explore the arch's fallen remains beneath crystal-clear water. What was once above now lives below, a perfect metaphor for Gozo's spirit. Resilient, eternal, reborn. Venture further, and you'll find secret coves and beaches that seem untouched by time. Azure Bay, Slendi, and Weed Ilgin Tasri, each with their own personality. Slendi, with its cliffside caves and cozy restaurants serving the day's fresh catch. Weed Ilgin Tasri, a narrow inlet where sunlight turns the water a surreal emerald green. And Dwejdra, where the sea swirls against the rocks in hypnotic rhythm, as if guarding the island's secrets. As the sun begins to set, Gozo becomes a painting of gold and amber. The church domes catch fire in the fading light, and the island glows with a soft, eternal warmth. The Gozotans say that sunset here isn't the end of the day, it's the island taking a breath before nightfall. And when the stars appear, the sky opens up like an ancient script, written in constellations. There are few places left in the world where you can see this many stars, where the night feels this alive. Gozo doesn't try to impress. It doesn't need to. Its beauty isn't loud or extravagant. It's quiet, soulful, and deeply human. It speaks in whispers, the sound of waves against limestone, the creak of old wooden doors, the distant melody of a church bell. It's a place where history and myth intertwine, where every path leads to a story, and every story leads back to the sea. And when you leave, Gozo doesn't leave you. It lingers in your heart, in your senses, in the silence that feels strangely comforting. You'll remember the light, the smell of the sea, the kindness of its people. You'll remember how time seemed to stop just for a moment, and how in that stillness you found something rare, peace. Because Gozo isn't just an island you visit, it's an island that visits you. It stays gently, quietly, reminding you that some of the world's most magical places aren't made of stone or sea, but of stories that never fade. Explore Malta's folklore, giants who built temples, saints who calmed storms, and secret underground passages said to lead to other worlds. Blend myth with reality to create a mystical atmosphere that keeps viewers captivated. There are places in the world where the air feels heavier, charged, almost alive. Places where myths aren't just stories but echoes of something ancient, something that hums beneath the surface of the earth. In Malta, that feeling lingers everywhere. It's in the wind that sweeps over limestone cliffs, in the shadows of prehistoric temples, in the flicker of candlelight during village feasts. Malta isn't only made of stone and sea, it's woven from legends, faith, and a strange energy that's hard to explain, yet impossible to ignore. They say Malta was blessed by the gods and haunted by its past. The island's mythology stretches back thousands of years, long before the arrival of Christianity or the Knights of St. John. Ancient Maltese stories tell of giants, powerful beings who built the island's megalithic temples with their bare hands. The most famous of these legends surrounds the Gantija temples on Gozo, whose name literally means the place of giants. It's said a giantess named Sansuna carried massive stones across the island while nursing her child, building the temples as a shrine to love. Science says otherwise, of course, but when you stand among those towering slabs, perfectly aligned with the sun, you can't help but feel that something beyond human strength was at work. Malta's temples are among the oldest freestanding structures on Earth, older even than the pyramids or Stonehenge. Many of them, like Ħaġar Qim and Mnajdra, are positioned to align with the rising or setting sun on the solstices. When light pierces through narrow doorways to illuminate the innermost chambers, it feels like the island itself is breathing with the cosmos. Archaeologists call it primitive astronomy. Locals call it spiritual, but everyone who witnesses it feels the same awe. And then there's the Al-Saflieni Hypogeum, one of Malta's greatest mysteries. Hidden beneath the modern town of Paola, this underground temple and burial site was carved out more than 5,000 years ago, 3 levels deep into the rock. It's a labyrinth of chambers, altars, and sleeping alcoves, all designed with astonishing precision. In one of its rooms, known as the Oracle Chamber, a low male voice creates an echo that resonates through the entire complex. Scientists have studied its acoustics, but locals whisper that the sound connects to something deeper, a frequency that once carried prayers to the gods. Many who visit describe a strange vibration in their chest, a sensation that's part sound, part emotion, as if the stones themselves are alive. Myths in Malta often intertwine with faith. When Christianity arrived, it didn't erase the old stories. It blended with them. One of the most famous legends tells of St. Paul, whose shipwreck in AD 60 brought Christianity to the island. He was said to have been bitten by a venomous snake that miraculously caused him no harm, leading to the belief that Malta's snakes are harmless to this day. The place of his shipwreck, now known as St. Paul's Bay, remains a site of deep reverence. For centuries, Maltese families have kept small tokens of the saint for protection, believing he still watches over the island. But Malta's spiritual fabric goes far beyond churches and saints. Every village celebrates its festa, a vibrant festival honoring its patron saint, with fireworks, music, and devotion. Yet behind the joy lies something ancient, the need to gather, to celebrate life, to chase away darkness with light. Some say it's a continuation of pre-Christian rituals, transformed but never forgotten. There's also talk of sacred energy lines running through the island, invisible threads connecting Malta's temples, churches, and hills. Those who visit often describe a feeling of clarity, a lightness of mind, as if the island is cleansing them. Healers and mystics come from around the world to meditate in the temple ruins, believing they're built on powerful energy nodes. Whether you believe in such things or not, there's no denying that Malta has a presence, an ancient hum that seeps into your skin and stays there. And then there are the darker whispers, tales of spirits and unseen forces. In Mdina, the Silent City, locals speak of phantom carriages rolling down empty streets at night, their wheels echoing against the cobblestones. On Gozo, fishermen tell stories of ghostly lights flickering above the water, souls of sailors lost at sea. Even in modern Valletta, there are places where people swear they felt a hand brush their shoulder or heard footsteps behind them, only to find no one there. But these stories aren't about fear, they're about respect. Malta's people have always lived close to mystery. The island's size makes everything intimate. The distance between the ancient and the modern, the living and the dead, feels paper, thin. To walk through Malta is to walk through layers of time, each one whispering, reminding, guiding. At dusk, when the sun sinks behind the cliffs of Dingley and the sky turns molten orange, it's easy to understand why so many feel a pull here. The air grows still. The sea glows like glass. And in that silence, it feels as if the island itself is alive, aware, watching, remembering. Malta isn't just a destination. It's a spiritual experience. It's a place that invites you to listen not with your ears, but with your soul. The stones speak, the sea sings, and the wind carries the voices of those who came long before. And if you stand quietly enough, if you let the noise of the world fall away, you might just hear it too, that timeless hum, that sacred vibration that connects everything. Because Malta's greatest secret isn't buried in its tables or hidden beneath the waves. It's right here, in the space between myth and memory, where history becomes something holy. End with a reflective finale, capturing Malta's sunsets, sea cliffs, and timeless beauty. Speak about what Malta represents to the soul, a meeting point between heaven and earth, myth and memory, past and present. Close with a poetic invitation to visit and feel its magic. Some places on earth seem to hold their breath, caught between the ancient and the eternal. Where time doesn't pass, it lingers. Malta is one of those rare places, an island that has seen empires rise and fall, storms rage and fade, yet somehow it remains untouched at its core. You don't just visit Malta, you feel it in your bones, in your breath, in that quiet space where the world slows down and history whispers your name. As the sun rises over Valletta, the golden stone city glows like it's been lit from within. Seagulls circle the harbor, and the soft chime of church bells drifts through the morning air. Life begins, but not in a rush, in rhythm. The fishermen return with their catch, the cafes open their doors, and light dances across centuries-old walls. This daily cycle has unfolded here for generations, unchanged, unfazed by modern time. It's as if the island itself exists in a different dimension where the past and present coexist in perfect harmony. Wander through the narrow streets of Mdina, the silent city, and you'll feel it instantly. The hush isn't empty, it's sacred. Every cobblestone carries a story, every doorway hides a blank memory. The air is thick with stillness, like the city itself remembers when knights, nobles, and poets once walked its paths. You could almost imagine a lantern flickering in a distant window, or hear the echo of footsteps long gone. In Malta, ghosts aren't frightening, they're familiar. They're part of the island's endless conversation with time. Across the water, Gozo seems even more timeless. The rhythm there is slower still, the air softer, the silence deeper. Locals say Gozo is what Malta used to be, raw, pure, and peaceful. Ancient farms still dot the hillsides, their stone walls glowing warm beneath the sunday. Old men sit beneath olive trees, sipping coffee and sharing stories that blend fact and folklore. At the edge of the island, cliffs rise like guardians over the sea, and waves crash far below, endlessly carving the same shapes into the rock as they have for thousands of years. Yet, Malta's stillness isn't a lack of motion, it's a balance. The island has evolved, modern cities, nightlife, art, and technology have found their place here. But somehow, they haven't erased the soul of the island. Walk through Valletta at night, and you'll see what I mean. History illuminated by modern light. Music spills from bars, laughter fills the alleys, and above it all, the fortress walls stand as silent witnesses watching, unchanging. This balance between preservation and progress is Malta's quiet genius. The Maltese people have mastered the art of honoring their past without being trapped by it. Their traditions, from religious feasts to family gatherings, aren't museum pieces. They're living rituals, carried forward with pride. Here, faith isn't just in God or history. It's in endurance, in the belief that no matter what happens, this island will endure, as it always has. Even that you're here feels eternal. The sea never leaves Malta's story. It's everywhere, a shimmering boundary, a protector, a mirror. It's the same sea that once carried Phoenician traders, Roman soldiers, Arab scholars, and European knights. Today, it carries divers into underwater worlds, where shipwrecks and statues sleep beneath the waves, suspended in blue silence. Above the surface, cliffs like Dingley and Taj and Ney stand as time's guardians, their shadows stretching across centuries. When you stand on those cliffs and look out over the horizon, it feels like looking into infinity, as if the world beyond doesn't exist. But Malta's eternity isn't just found in its landscapes or ruins, it's in its spirit. A spirit born from resilience. For thousands of years, this small island has endured invasions, wars, sieges, and hardships that could have erased lesser nations. Yet the Maltese never broke. They adapted, rebuilt, and carried on. From the Great Siege of 1565 to the bombings of World War II, Malta's people have proven time and again that strength isn't about size, it's about soul. And perhaps that's Malta's greatest secret. Time doesn't conquer it, because time respects it. This island doesn't chase the future. It welcomes it slowly, letting it blend with the past. It knows that real beauty, real meaning, doesn't come from speed. It comes from stillness, from continuity, from remembering who you are. As night falls once more, the island transforms. The wind softens, the sea shimmers beneath the moon, and the ancient stones glow faintly in the dark. Valletta's streets, once bustling, grow quiet again, as if the island is returning to its eternal rhythm. The same stars that once guided sailors now shine over rooftops, temples, and towers, their light unchanged across millennia. And you realize, time hasn't moved here. It's been circling, endlessly, like the tides. Malta is more than a destination. It's a reflection of what it means to endure. It teaches you that progress can exist without forgetting, that peace can live inside motion, that eternity isn't found in the heavens, it's right here, carved into the stone, whispered in the wind, and sung by the sea. And as you leave, looking back one last time, you'll understand something profound. Malta doesn't stay still because it's trapped. It stays still because it has already seen everything. It has lived every story, felt every storm, survived every test. And in that timeless calm, it continues not as a relic of the past, but as a living reminder that some places, some souls, are eternal. In the end, Malta doesn't ask to be understood, only to be felt. It's a place where the silence tells stories, where every shadow holds a secret, and where time itself seems to pause, just long enough for you to remember what stillness feels like. Here, the ancient and the modern don't collide, they dance together. Temples stand beside cafes. History breathes through laughter. The past and present exist not in conflict, but in harmony. And when you walk away from the golden streets of Valletta, from the limestone cliffs of Gozo, from the blue shimmer of the sea, something within you changes. You carry Malta with you, not as a memory, but as a feeling that never fades. Because Malta isn't just a place on the map. It's a living soul, ancient, proud, and eternal. And once you've heard its whispers, you'll never forget them. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.